Welcome to the December 7th, 2021 meeting, Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners. First thing we'd like to do is do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any additions to the agenda?
None here.
We need to read.
One question. Just EAP under new business.
Okay. I'll probably forget it soon after. We need to read and approve the minutes of the November 16th, 2021 regular meeting.
Move for approval and post as necessary.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Any correspondence? I didn't see any.
Yes.
Yeah,
There is quite a bit.
No, I didn't. I should have updated
There it
it.
is.
You want me to
Regulations.
detail that?
I don't
I'd be
have.
glad to.
Oh, up here, I'm
AMR,
sorry.
AMR provided a AMR Awards banquet announcement. Christmas card from the Colombian delivery person.
Okay.
Commissioner election correspondence, which is advising the district about when the new commissioner has to be sworn, where and how. And then East County Fire Rescue retirement flyer, I believe that was a Linda Durrett, the administrative specialist.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. Citizen communication. This is the time we set aside for any citizens that would like to discuss Fire District 6 business with us. Those of you on YouTube, if you have a question or comment, there's a place on the right-hand side where you could chat that to us, and Chief Schmidt will keep an eye out for that as we go through the meeting. Committee reports, safety.
Yeah, we have a quick safety report. It's been a couple of months since we've had a safety meeting, so just kept catching up on some old injuries. We had a firefighter stepping off an engine that tweaked a knee, but no claim filed. A member suffered medical conditions while responding to a call. A claim has been filed, but not accepted by L&I at this time. We're still kind of working through that one. A firefighter smashed a finger, which resulted in infection, and that was an accepted claim. No work loss there. Another knee pain while working out, no time loss or claim filed. And we've had 3 breakthrough COVID infections of vaccinated responders, all of which have been accepted as L&I claims. And then shift reports, there's just been a lot of discussion over the past couple of months regarding House Bill 1310 and the lack of law enforcement response to certain types of calls. The Chiefs group has had the opportunity to meet with some legislators and, voice our concerns, and that was a pretty eye-opening experience, it sounds like, for those legislators, and they are going to be going back to work on that bill and making some reforms to, emphasize the original intent of that, which is kind of focusing on use of force with law enforcement, not so much, how it responds to healthcare emergencies, mental health emergencies, and that sort of thing. There was another issue brought to the Safety Committee regarding SCBA mask fit testing. We're transitioning into a new Scott mask where we've had a little bit of fit issue with a couple of different individuals. We've since reached out to Scott and found a solution, so we'll be making that work. I don't think we'll have any issues there. So that is your health and safety report.
And each one of our personnel has their own masks. Right?
They do. Mask and regulator.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief?
No.
Risk management shows nothing. Fairgrounds Fire Facility Board shows nothing. Call your attention to the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Chief's report. Personal action report.
So just with the consent agenda, I just wanted to let the board know that we ran 71 more calls than we did last year in November, for the month of November, and we're up 856 calls on year to date. In your packet has the first watch graphing that shows when we meet the 90th percentile in our response times and turnout times. And we're having First Watch build us a chart similar to those that will show mutual aid to and from Clarkford and Vancouver. So that will be in your 1st of the January report.
Will that include arrivals as well versus cancel in and out? What will that capture? Just total
It would
response?
be, yeah, total response, any response. We could possibly narrow it down to actually arrive on scene if the
Yeah,
board
I mean,
desires.
From a more global perspective, arriving actually, shows the unit committed to that incident versus responding and then being turned around 3 minutes or 4 minutes en route. Just to have the complete picture,
Okay.
if it's not too much.
What's the difference between that and the proposed billable response? We talked about once we were added to a call that becomes a billable event.
So what we did with the proposed fee for service model that was presented at the joint meeting was any response from District 6. So we didn't delineate if that was an actual arrived on scene response or just a leave the station response.
Sometimes they wouldn't even leave the station, they get canceled. Is that correct?
If they don't leave the station, it doesn't get written up as a response. So they have to actually go out onto the road and start responding.
Is one more question about is First Watch, is that who provides the data or who pulls the data for you? That's not done in-house then?
So First Watch pulls the data directly from Pressa, and actually I should probably let Chief Russell answer it.
Yeah, so First Watch is a data mining service that is subscribed to by Cressa, and so they have the ability to direct link right into them. We can get our information directly from Cressa also, but it's just a real kind of mess of data.
Yeah.
So First Watch helps us kind of sort that out.
Okay.
We have another program too with ESO that we can also kind of do a little bit of data mining, but that is a little bit more dependent on our inputs. So I think First Watch is kind of our best option for kind of the metadata, the biggest block of it. Yeah, and we've actually got a really great partner that lives locally in district who works for First Watch remotely, and she's been the one that helps us with all our filter setup and stuff. Yeah,
Perfect.
It's been great.
Thank you.
Want to go to the chief's report,
Sure.
please?
So for the personnel action report, on December 15th, Catherine Eterno will have her 1-year anniversary. She's been an amazing addition to District 6 and everybody absolutely loves her, so we're glad to have her. Josh Lawson was appointed to SCBA Tech today. Then we have Heather Gearing on a off-the-job illness. She's currently still off. Sean Crawford on an off-the-job injury, currently still off. Jordan Scott is on an on-the-job injury, doing light duty at this time. Amy Culver is working through COVID accommodations, so she's on a day schedule right now, off the line. And Scott Squires is off on an on-the-job injury right now.
Not quite as bad as campus, but
But don't see Catherine, tell her congratulations.
I will. Thank you. So Chief Newberry is sick, but he provided a facilities report. We continue to have the owner architect meetings. They're once a week, and those are starting back up. But while we were on hiatus waiting to get the bond and that kind of stuff, we still were in communication with the architect. The Station 6-1 remodel, we're awaiting the 60% drawings. We estimate they'll be here by the Christmas holiday. We plan to submit that package for land use review to the county on or about December 14th. And
do we have to, is that a hearing, or does the county make that determination from type 1 to type 2?
I'm sorry.
We don't have to go up before a hearing examiner
No.
for the land use review.
They've
because
already
we're doing
done
the
that.
remodel. Okay.
Yeah, that happened mid-November.
Okay, I missed that. Thank you.
And then we're going to review the cost estimate again next week and make sure we're still tracking where we anticipated. Station 6-2 still has some supply chain issues. We're trying to work through the lighting system there, and it's just been a very slow process, but still being worked on. Station 6-3, we had a small, we had a sprinkler activation in the balcony at Station 6-3. We've tried to get multiple people out to fix it. Nobody wants to do a job that small. We finally did obtain somebody out to fix it, and the estimate's about $4,300 for that repair, so we've submitted that to insurance. The training storage building, they received bids. Both Chief Schmidt and Chief Newberry have been working on that. The bid is included in your packet, and it's a design from Nucor. It's bid under Sourcewell, so it's a cooperative purchasing agreement already. We don't have to go out for bid. And then that doesn't include the building cost or actually erecting the structure, but the bid is coming in at $72,556 plus tax. And then we will also have to install concrete floor and purchase doors and windows. They also want to consider an alternative, which is a 24-foot by 40-foot covered area added to the end of the building, and the base price for that was $84,175. The idea being that when there is training happening, and because we live in the Pacific Northwest, they would be covered and be able to have that outdoor training and be out of the elements.
So that goes from 72 to 84, not additional to the 72.
Correct.
Okay.
So he
12,000.
anticipates the entire project to be in that $250,000 to $300,000 range. And then, we'll know more of those exact numbers once it goes out for bid. As with everything construction, in November, the price of these structures went up about 7%. They anticipate within the next 30 days to increase another 30%, or another 10%, I'm sorry. And we just had the bonds funding deposited to the district with county treasurers. So if the board was inclined, it would be a good time to order that before we had the price increase.
And then that does come up later. Yeah.
I like the idea of the covered area added to the end, because the elements can be cold or hot or whatever, and it is going to be taxing on their well-being.
It's 24 by 40. Is that a big enough space up the side of the building?
I'll let Chief Schmidt answer that.
Is that-
I'm working with Chief.
Yeah, we walked it to see, we're trying to fit it within a footprint area in the
Yeah.
corner,
Oh, okay.
and that's
Kind of
pretty much maximizing what we can do.
Okay. Perfect.
So on to COVID report. COVID report is trending downward, so we're looking better with COVID. Of course, we have the new variant that's out now, and then they anticipate some increase after the couple weeks of incubation, for lack of a better word, after the Thanksgiving holiday. But right now, we're trending downward, so that's good.
Is this influenza report is new?
There is also an influenza report in your packet,
Well, that's good, right?
along with the COVID report, yes.
It's real low flu
Yes.
numbers, almost non-existent.
Any additional questions for the chief on that? Old business, station 151.
So in your packet is a memo to the board from myself that discusses exactly where we got the data and information that we've been presenting in the joint meetings with Station 151 in regards to call volume, cost, what other agencies are doing, and recommendations by state agencies. There were some questions throughout the two joint board meetings about the accuracy and authenticity of the facts, and so I just thought it was really important that the board know where those were received from. So none of the decisions and recommendations that staff brought forward to you or to the joint boards was made in a vacuum. They were all done consulting industry experts across the state, and I listed those industry experts that we met with and talked with to get that information. I also sent the memo to Chief Knorr, and he agreed with the statements that were made in it and how we got the information. His only hesitation is the state auditor's opinion, and that's been a hesitation from the beginning.
Well, you could contact the state auditor and talk to them too, so.
Have you had an opportunity to meet with him post that meeting, or what's next before January 9th when we meet with him again?
Yeah, so we haven't met in person, but definitely met on the phone. Talked a little bit about different scenarios, have yet to come to a full understanding of what they're willing to do for a joint staffing model.
Okay.
But I will get that information within the next week or two and have it ready for January.
Perfect.
And just so the board knows, and I talked to the chief, there was some talk of, or an idea of maybe trying to get a consultant.
Uh-huh.
And have them come in without any emotion, without any politics. And Chief Knorr is not interested in that, so we will move on.
That's going to boil down to the bottom line, dollar line for him. It doesn't matter what the statistics say. It can say all day long that we need to do this, we need to do that. And if he can't afford it, they're just not going to do it, no matter what any consultant says. That's
Well,
my
I think
opinion.
right now both chiefs are comfortable with the anecdotal information we've gotten. The station's not actually up and running and responding, so the data we're getting is hard to evaluate. So perhaps if we were to staff that station for a 1-year period, we would have real data and we could really look at the location, the structure, the layout of the station, and the response modeling from there. So it may be a good thing to wait on a consultant at this point and then get more accurate data and look at it again in the future.
I agree, I'm a consultant is the way to go on that, yeah. Maybe later.
What about the tender situation? Is that?
I'll let Chief Russell speak to that.
I have a meeting actually with Cressa tomorrow to put their tender on our run cards for our unhydrated areas up there.
They aren't currently.
They are not
We
current.
have to ask one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
we
doesn't give us
just
tanker
requested.
credit though.
I think having it
Partial
gives you
credit?
partial
Okay.
to have them on the response.
So we'll save some of the residents in the northwest corner of our district a little bit of money on their insurance.
So we have to add them to the run card, and then we have to schedule a testing process with WSRB, and WSRB has to come out and evaluate that Clarkford can hook up the tenders, pump a certain amount of water within a certain amount of time. I set a deadline for mid-January for that to happen, so it'll just be a matter of scheduling with Chief Knorr and Eric Cunningham from WSRB.
We'll keep plugging away. It'd be nice if they could come up with some funds to at least try to jointly staff it since we did, but that's our thing, so. Anything else on,
I just wanna know, is that squad joint shared cost, is that off the table right now? Are we just worried about the tender that's gonna get 2 calls?
No, so the District 6 said that we could support that squad model with a 50% contribution from Clark County Fire and Rescue. That has not been pulled back. We still can support that model.
Good.
What I wouldn't recommend our district do is support that on our own and run calls into Clarkford without a 50-50
I don't
split.
either.
because we'd run.
No,
we'd
they
run
need
more.
to pony up. But I like that model. You know, if that's what we're gonna do and that's what they're gonna do, then they can share that cost. And like I said before, that's, you know, it's in our district and we can start out doing it. And like you said, it may not work forever if you change our model at Station 63. It's a step in the right direction. They have to fund it.
But it'd give us some true numbers.
Yes.
Good point. Anything else, gentlemen? On that one? Okay. CBA negotiations, we're gonna go into executive session to discuss that. Bond issue? We have money?
We do, so I just wanted to notify the board that the bond funding has been deposited into the district's capital account with the county. So we
Yeah.
can start utilizing that money for building projects.
Do you have any idea what percentage of interest through the county we'll get?
I do,
Something?
I can ask, I don't know off the top of my head.
0.25, 100% if it's something.
Oh,
With
absolutely.
that
It's
much money,
something.
with that much money, it'll
It's a
generate,
bunch.
it'll generate some.
But it's
So it's there, so we're ready to go, and we have 3 years to spend it, correct?
3 years to spend.
Any other old business? Okay, new business, we have district development update, which we asked for, so we can kind of keep an eye on what's happening and where it's happening and those sorts of things. And I think Chief Schmidt has put together, we obviously reviewed it, a really good presentation, so go for it.
Thank you. So, yeah, you requested an overview of what's going on construction-wise, so, excuse my voice. But this should give you an idea of where we're at and kind of a little background too. So when we talk about, first of all, plan review, this is how we get the plans. So we go through Clark County plan review process first. You see land use, development and engineering, fire marshal, and building. Once it's completed that process, then it comes to us. And what we look at when we get the plans is our hydrant distances, locations, the FTC locations, distances, locations to hydrants, apparatus access, turnarounds, and egress, which is one of the biggest issues we have, and then parking restrictions and signage along the areas. So that's what we review, make recommendations back, and then resubmit. So here's what we're gonna break it down to 4 areas of new construction projects. So single-family residential, multifamily, senior care, and since there's fewer of them, just commercial and schools, put those together. We'll kind of see where those lay out within the district. So first off, single-family residential, this is the biggest group. And you'll see units anywhere from 5 up to over 300. So about 16 different layouts here, and total units, 1,152 units. The biggest one there being the Three Creeks Village, which is, we know that new development is being planned where Jolly's is, on both sides of 179th. And
Wow, 540.
yes, it's pretty large. And then our next door neighbor, right here, putting in 654 homes, just a little bit further down 179th Street, which is probably within our reach still. It's right between 63s and 26 as far as the response district. So we would probably end up in this area as well. But that group of homes and the people living there will be coming our direction for shopping and utilization. So they'll be coming this direction as well. So let's look at where they're at. So they're kind of spaced out pretty well, but you'll see location-wise, the larger icons there are the larger developments, and those are going to be anchored up there along 179th Street. So these are pretty well scattered all throughout the district, and again, they're different sizes. With the icons, kind of gives you an idea of the size of the developments.
What's the one to the left of 151? Is that the one they're working on now?
Exactly, yes.
Isn't there one further south on 11th that?
There's
have you
not
seen that one?
Yeah.
that I have on here.
Okay,
It might have been older.
Everson's?
they just had a hearing on it. It was in the paper that there was a hearing, and
Oh, then I haven't got
you
it.
probably haven't got it, okay. It was, I think it was 60 or 70 maybe, down like on the old Gonzalez place down there, Casey?
I just saw the signs at Everson's property.
Okay.
Yeah,
The
there
164.
are a number of them still out there that we'll still see. And then these are hitting the ones on our side of 179th. I don't have plans, I don't see the ones on the opposite side, which there could be equal amount.
But Ridgefield did buy property right on the border for the school, correct?
Yes, on the right-hand side, so where those homes are, right next to the 5 right there,
Okay.
there is on the north end of it, there's a school, and that's one of the developments, and you'll see that in the left. next.
Okay, thank you. I'll get an idea here.
Then residential multifamily, again, this is some of our areas where we're gonna get a little bit larger, some larger units, and more density. So we've got 776 of these units coming in. And again, the largest one there is one that's in pre-approval review. That's the Hazeldale Apartments. That's the large 7-story down there on 78th in Hazeldale. And then again, location-wise on these, see these are kind of spaced out. But these two up on the upper side up there, there's about 160 units right there on the 179th corridor as well. And so you can see the density is always going to be down here in this district, but then that density is really increasing up on that upper end as well. Senior care, again, we got a lot of calls to the senior care facilities. So there's 4 of them coming in, and they're pretty large, looking at 370 units. And you can kind of see these are spaced around the district pretty well. The largest being up there by the hospital.
That one is next to Kenzie's place in Philida. That's the one where we
Yeah.
have a right away for a well or something.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right.
Commercial and school. So commercial development, these were earlier in the year. They've slowed down, but residential have been more lately. But the commercial were the ones we're getting right off the bat. So there's some large facilities. The largest of which is the Three Creeks development, again, up there at 179th and 10th. And that's 26 separate buildings up to 340,000 square feet. The 2 schools on there, I never got the square footage from them, so I don't know exactly what those will be. But you're looking at, 750,000 square feet. And then here's where they are spaced out. Again, the large ones up on top there, commercial, and there's that school we're talking about, the Three Creeks Village School. And then so potential residential increase, so I just put some numbers together for this. Using each one of these developments with the total units, adding these up together. So you're looking at, for residential population, potential increase of 6,455 residents, and that's in the single family and multifamily. And that's using a 2.5 unit factor per residence. The average is actually about, for area, 2.55 to 2.6 in Washington State, but just giving a round number, 2.5. And then adding the senior care population, which per unit is about 1.5, another 555 potential residents, for a total of 7,000 new residents within our response area, which we're at about 70,000 right now, so it's about a 10% increase, what we're looking at in the next couple of years here. That's it.
That was excellent, thank you.
Well
And
done.
That's good information.
Yeah.
If something big pops, we don't expect to do this like every meeting or every quarter, but if something significant comes up, you let us know, and then maybe twice a year you could update us.
Okay, definitely, yes.
You have the boilerplate for it now, and hopefully we'll be quite as. But it's interesting to see where stuff's going to land, especially up north, so.
Yeah, I didn't know Lease Brothers was gonna build so soon. He said, my kids are gonna do well.
Interest rates are down, right? Any questions for Chief Schmidt on that? Okay, thank you. Policy 1053, uniform regulations.
So with actually the last CBA that we are just moving out of, there was some changes that affected uniform regulations, and then with this CBA there'll be more changes. The big one being we used to have a uniform committee that got disbanded with the last CBA, so all language according to the uniform committee was removed from this policy. And then also there's other items that the district will now provide moving forward, and so those have been added to reflect language of the proposed new CPA if that were to pass. We're going through each policy and just updating them and making sure we're up to date and everything's matching current contract language, and so this is just part of that process. So I just wanted the board to see it. The local did just get this policy today, so it would probably be good if we could review, ask questions, and then wait the 2 weeks to look at it again in case there's any other changes.
Any questions at this point?
No, I read it earlier.
Fisher College, have anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Station 3 training / storage building.
So again, that bid is number 7A in your packet for the proposal for the training building. Computer's small. So what we are looking at is just purchasing the building materials at this time and then going out for bid to do the actual construction of the quote.
So we're gonna own the kit, and then we're gonna go out to bid and have a contractor erect it.
Correct.
Have we, well, it sounds like you have asked for both. A contractor to do a design build, supply the building and erect the building. We've done that, right?
Well, no. So with this building, you have to purchase the building in order to get the plans so that a contractor can bid the plans. So it's a little bit different process, and that's because it's on the Sourcewell bid, and it's a prefab building. So we can't get estimated building costs until we actually have the plans for the building, and they won't give you the plans for the building until you agree to purchase the building.
Seems backward.
A little bit.
Well, there's design build, and they can supply their own building, and they can, you know, because some of them are certified vendors. for these metal buildings, and they carry this product, and that's what they do, and they buy it at a better price, and then they know how to erect it, and that's what they do. And so I just don't want to see you buy some building and then ask somebody else to come in and erect it. A lot of times, they have better buying power to buy the building because they're a dealer, and then they can erect the building, and that's what they do. I mean, all the ports, all those buildings down to the metal buildings at the Port of Washougal, Port of Vancouver, all those are design built. And so I hate to see you do something like this.
Yeah. And the training tower was not any different than this purchase. It was a kit that we purchased and then had the bid to build. So it's similar to what we're doing with this purchase. Unfortunately, I don't have the exact details with Chief Newbrain not being here, but Chief Schmidt, did you know any more about it?
No, I do know that he was sourcing everybody to see what the pricing was, and this was his most reasonable pricing you can get for that size of building. So I know he looked at both aspects of it.
Is this building so industry specific, like the training tower is?
No, it's a storage building.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be a dime a dozen. I don't know. I know if you've tried it, you're gonna have to weigh out how bad you need it. So I don't know. I'd hate to be down to a single source.
So I understand this right, there's no idea related construction costs until you purchase the blueprints? Is that what, am I understanding this? We have to own the kit, have the kit, before we even find out what it costs to put the kit together?
Yeah, there's he has estimates of what builders have said that
Yeah, I read at the bottom of his description, the total cost was
Yeah.
in
200.
200 and some odd range, but the kit itself is in the $80,000 range.
I have
So
Chief
the
Newbrain right here
other,
if you'd like me to put him on speakerphone and
Sure.
he can answer this question for you.
sure. No, I'm just trying to better
Yeah,
understand it.
if you actually talk to people about bidding the whole thing, the building and because then if they get the building and if they provide the building, there's something wrong with it.
Chief Newbrain, you're on speakerphone and commissioners have
We
questions.
Kit, it seems like we're hostage for whatever.
We are.
It's going to cost you this much to put it up.
Chief Newberry, I explained to him that you buy the kit and then with the kit comes the plans and then you go out for build for the construction process. And so that's where the questions lie is buying the kit prior to having a contractor.
Or finding a contractor that will provide the materials.
Warranty.
Okay, so Nucor is the builder, and they, or the manufacturer, and they have a list of contractors who they work with to build this thing, and they've sent me 3 of them in our area, and I've reached out to them and got some kind of wild guesses on per square foot total cost to build the thing with a concrete foundation, but without the plans and without sending it out to bid, those are they're just round numbers. They're just a guess. So I was putting together a budget for you to consider. Once we decide on the package, the manufactured metal building package, then we can put the bid together and send it out to contractors that will give us competitive bids. But that's the only other way to do it is if we were to have the contractors bid the building built, and then they mark up the package of the package price of the building to whatever they can make competitive. The way that we're doing it here is we're buying it through Sourcewell. If we were to buy it, we would buy it through Sourcewell, who is one of the approved purchasing agents or the purchasing group agents that gives us essentially state bid on these buildings. So we feel that it's a cheaper route to go, that we buy the manufactured building and then we hire the contractor through the competitive bidding process.
What kind of savings do you think you're getting through the state bid versus a design build contractor who's a vendor of a specific metal building?
We don't know that without sending it out to bid, but the advice that we've received from Sourcewell and Nucor
just seems backwards, and this is not that technical of a building. And
No, it's not very technical of building. However, to get the contract or to get the pricing through Sourcewell, which we buy a lot of things through these purchasing groups. Our SCBAs are purchased similarly, our turnouts are purchased similarly, and there's a lot of things that we subscribe to when we go to these purchasing groups to purchase. Nucor steel buildings is on that list. And so that you get that pricing. Now, we may not get that same pricing on the contractor side or the builder side of things, but you do get it for the raw materials and the kit itself. So, yes, we could go out for a design build or a complete build package, but the work for the design of the building is already complete. Basically, we would just be paying a contractor to mark up the building and erect it for us. So,
what about warranty issues from the building supplier and the contractor? And who's ultimately going to be responsible for the 1-year warranty?
That would be included in the contract that we write up with the contractor. However, all of the list of the contracts that we've received from Nucor, all of them are very familiar with these buildings. They put them up, they said daily, but I'm sure it's just regularly. It's a normal part of their business. And we would ensure that the warranty for workmanship and the warranty for the building are together.
Does the metal building come all the way to the slab, or is there CMU block wall that comes up for the first section?
It's slab on grade.
And is there ballards on the inside of it?
There's not bollards on the inside of it that support, so like intermediate that support the roof structure?
No, so they don't ram the walls and beat it up.
Oh, there's not in the design, no.
Well, that's typically what happens when you don't put a metal building on CMU block wall. If you don't have ballards in it, it's going to get beat up just with the metal studs.
Chief, do you anticipate having power to this building as well?
Yes, and we've pre-planned the power supply. It's been run out there. It's stubbed out in the flower bed next to where the footprint of the building will be. There's also a water supply there if we decide to put water in the building.
Okay.
How much talk have you had with McKinsey about this in the design build situation?
Well, very little because, as you mentioned, it's a very basic structure. The input that we've got is to make sure that we're back from the property lines, the 10-foot requirements through the county, and I've also spoken with the county about those requirements. So this package is basically an informational piece for you to consider, and if this is something that the board has an appetite for, we would move forward with permitting and purchasing of the building, and while it was being manufactured, be going out to bid for the labor for erecting the structure itself from one of the selected or all of the selected vendors from Nucor.
So Sean, it doesn't make a difference if it's our house or a fire station. Is this gonna be big enough to take care of our storage needs for the next 15 or 20 years? I mean, we've got the trailer, right? We've got the forklift, we've got some stuff that we plan on putting it in there. Is it gonna be big enough for us down the road to store what we need to store?
I believe so, and it also is a good balance of space used in that section of the training ground, so it's not too much or too little. It doesn't impact if we end up deciding to go forward with a fueling station. I've spoken with the training division. Even as recently as last Thursday, went out there to confirm that this was adequate. So yes, I believe that this is what we need. I believe that it's a reasonable price, and the price is only going to go up if we postpone for more than 30 days. We've already seen one price increase where we were hoping to see a price decrease, so I don't think it would be good to move, to postpone this. And we're also going into the winter months where you might have a slowdown in construction a little bit anyway, so that we could get somebody to bid the job. I will say that the contractors that I spoke with were very receptive to the project. It didn't seem like they were averse to bidding the project.
Okay, thank you.
Chief Newberry, can you clarify one thing, because I think I misunderstood your memo. But the 84,000, that's the building plus the overhang. It's not
Yes.
the building cost plus the 84,000. Okay.
No. You have two costs there. One is with the overhang, one is without the overhang. And $85,000 price is the one with the overhang. That excludes taxes. It excludes overhead doors, a window if we end up with one, the man door, the concrete pad, permitting, electrical. So basically just the steel structure delivered.
Well, appreciate the information. I think you guys should do a design build and get other manufacturers to include everything you want.
I couldn't quite hear what you said, Casey.
I appreciate the information. I think you guys should put together exactly what you want and have them bid the whole package, all inclusive. Just my opinion. That's what the ports do.
Yeah, I'm not, this is not something that we do all the time, but in just pure numbers, and unless the contractor marks up their labor to cover their profit on the building itself, which they may do in this environment, saving the money that we can save on the steel package by going through Sourcewell is fairly significant. And unless it was absorbed in profit or some other expense from the contractor, I believe it's going to be less expensive to do it this way. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone that route. And I did it with under kind of the direction of the manufacturer as well.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Sorry I couldn't be there in person.
It's all right. Take care of yourself.
Are we done with Chief Newberg?
Thank you.
Anything else, Sean? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
I think you should look into it further and get everything you want, including the garage doors, including the slab, including the roll-up door, and put it out to competitive bid. And if that price goes up, then so be it. But, I've seen it time and time again where somebody thought they were going to save money by buying the stuff and then hiring somebody to put together. And then I was like, they're going to pay. You're going to get charged one way or another. And you should have it all underneath one hat, and responsibility and warranty. That's what I think. I've seen it time and time again. Cart College would go down there and buy all the concrete pipe and utilities and everything else, and then try and find somebody to go put it in. Well, we own it. We already bought it, and I just want you to put it in. So everybody has their markup. And so some of these Verco buildings that are down at the port of Washougal and the port of Vancouver and all those kinds of things, those people are metal building vendors, and they also erect them. And so if you put together your spec of what you want, it will come with doors, it will come with a slab, it will come with everything, and it will come with a general contractor who will take care of all that with all your wiring and plumbing needs, if there are any of that. So just my...
We have to have a design for that we bid off of.
Right.
So we would have to pay somebody to design it?
Yep.
On average, McKinsey is about 12% of the total building cost for just the design process.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't include them pulling permits and assisting with the county and that kind of stuff.
I do know that some of the companies have, go to their websites, they have buildings on there with different dimensions and stuff, and you can say, I want A, B, or C, and add stuff to it also.
General Steel, they advertise all the time. Verco, take a drive down the ports, see what they got. Talk to the port directors.
Verco's the big one.
Talk to the people at the Port of Vancouver, the purchasing agent. They buy a lot of them.
I just feel like it's got a high likelihood of just going and going and going and going and going. I mean, we have a price range of $250,000 to $300,000. There's power there. We don't know the costs associated with wiring the building. It's just, I would like to see something a little bit more inclusive as to what this is entirely going to cost. And like Commissioner Losbeck said, is this going to meet the needs? I'd like to see the needs met longer than 15 to 20 years, before we're back to adding on or creating space. Let's make sure that we meet the needs of the district. That was the reason why I asked the question, is 24 by 40. I mean, I think of my own shop at home and how big it is, and I think 24 by 40, what what does that,
Well, that's the overhang.
I understand that piece. I'm talking in addition to that, does that meet the needs of the district going forward and for the long
There's
haul?
also a finite amount of money. The bond proceeds will go all towards Station 61 with savings that we have. So while we may all want a huge storage facility,
Well, I guess we
it
have
may
to
not be
ask
in the
ourselves,
cards.
where does this lie on the priority scale of the district as well? Where does this building, where does this building fit on the, if we don't have infinite dollars, then where does this $300,000, because I'm sure it's not going to be $250,000, where does that lie on, in the grand scheme of things, and the importance scale?
Well, we do have a lot of equipment sitting outside in the rain. Our propane car prop is sitting in the rain. I don't know where the forklift is. The trailer's in the rain.
and they use those current props that we had to size.
Did we buy that
what they
forklift?
needed.
We don't have a forklift.
It's
That
up here.
telehandler
It's here at
out there?
61.
It's at 61.
Who's got the JLG telehandler out there at 63? The
That was
forklift.
McKenzie's, it just hasn't been picked up yet.
Thank you. I thought, man, we got a forklift.
Well, if it's been there a certain amount of time, it's all right.
I need that.
Possession.
I do like being involved in small projects in the past. I do like it all being underneath, it's like if you try to build your own house and you try to get all the subs in and get all the subs working together, and who's gonna do the electrical and who's gonna install the door and all the things that the district and Sean and, afterwards trying to come up with all the other stuff that has to be done to it and add to and add to and add to. And then if you do have a contractor, they're responsible for the warranty. They're responsible for anything that happens, damage the building. I mean, it's just easier to deal with one person than maybe a door person, a power person, a person put up the building. And then again, maybe we should bid it at the same time we bid the station remodeling. But I don't know.
Yeah, add alternate, design build,
I'm sure that you
do something, just make a line item.
I'm sure you've discussed that.
But get Station 1 done, if that's what you're gonna do.
I didn't anticipate that they would piecemeal the project. They would hire a contractor to do electrical, water, doors, windows, whatever they
Who
needed.
would hire the contractor?
The district,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it's not like we would get this kit and then we'd look for an electrician, we'd look for a plumber, and we'd look for a door person.
You could have
That would all
general.
be bid with that
The general contractor.
structure.
Sure.
We can do it with the 61 project. We're gonna pay contingency fees. We're
Right.
gonna pay a huge amount to
McKinsey,
McKinsey.
I don't wanna do that.
And the cost of that building, I can tell you what was a $200,000 shop is $1 million shop now, and that's what we'll be looking at. I mean, I can't say that the jump's gonna be that big, but it's crazy when you start getting other people involved. Sourcewell's very common in Washington State. The products they have on there are common that fire service agencies purchase those across the state, and
Okay.
they get them at state bid. So
So we would get the plans from Sourcewell. or
From
from this company. And then we would add a roll-up door, we'd add all the stuff that we want onto the building in addition to the materials we get. And then look for a general to do everything we want done to the building at once.
So I believe the plans have the doors and stuff. They just don't come with the kit. Is that right, Chief Schmidt, or do you know?
Yeah, everything is identified that you need. It's just, you don't buy that with the kit. They supply the kit and then you have your contractor supply everything else.
Like the roll-up door.
Right.
We would supply that ourselves.
They would, no, the contractor.
The contractor that
Their
was-
contract would involve the concrete work, the electrical work, any water work, anything installed as far as doors, windows, supports on the inside, protection, whatever you want, that's what they would bid, one time, one person only. So basically they do the same thing, that they would go to the company and ask, hey, I wanna get this building, how much is it gonna be? 80,000, okay, your building's now 100,000 plus our fees. So it's just, I think it is a cost savings, and that's why Chief brought that up.
So this, I know this is not a technical building like the training tower, but it's a very similar process. We bought the training tower, we cut a check for $240,000 or $460,000, I can't remember. We shipped it off. They shipped a kit. 2KG looked at the kit. They looked at all the pieces that went with it. They looked at the electrical, the concrete, the plumbing, everything that went with that kit, the railing, and then they bid essentially their hours it would cost to build. So everything that the contractor would bid would build this building. There's no subcontracting.
How many change orders did we have that were unexpected in the training tower that we might expect with the same scenario?
So the change orders that we had with the training tower, there were two major ones, and those were driven by the county, and those were nothing that
Right.
The training tower company had seen across the nation. So this being a more simpler building without stairs, that was the big thing on the training tower. I would hope there would be less change orders. But if there were change orders, you would have that contractor in place that would address those change orders.
And they didn't like the containers we had. The county. It makes me nervous.
It's fine in Amboy.
That's true. Everywhere else.
Complaint driven.
Do you have an image of what this building looks like?
The only one that was provided in your packet is that drawing on the last page of the Nucor bid.
Oh,
I'm supposed to go for it.
yeah.
Well, it's not rocket science. If they have three contractors and you get three competitive bids, and you think you're buying the building right, and they've done it before. And you can afford it if you want to afford it. If you're confident that you're within your budget here at Station 61, you're not going to go spend the money on this thing and then never have the funds to erect it or run over here. I mean, I don't know. It's like I tend to want to wait and make sure that you're on budget with your 61 endeavor. Easily could run over.
Yes. The budget for 61 is comfortable with what the original or what the initial cost estimates are coming in at. The bond does not cover all those. The trouble that we'll get in, or the difficulty with the bond, is that those funds have to be used within 3 years. That also gives us 3 years to replenish those and carry money over in the budget. But we have to start building projects that we anticipated that we would start sooner than later, because we won't start the building for this station for another year, if that makes sense. And so we're on a timeline for those bond proceeds to be utilized. And so that's why we outlined this storage structure to be one of the first ones to go, so that we could start utilizing those bond proceeds. We also have to use $600,000 of the bond within the first 6 months. So we're on a timeline to use that as well.
Well, that'll take care of half of it.
No, the architect fees count.
What's that?
Architect fees count towards.
Architect fees count, and we can go back previous months and pull those from the bond. But there are some stipulations with how we have to spend that money.
Anybody hear Hazeldale Avenue from clear over here?
We'll be able to hear it there.
Oh, because, yeah.
What do you want to do, gentlemen? It's budgeted. Staff has a recommendation. Need to give them a green light, a yellow light, or a red light at this point.
It's up to you two.
I just wish I knew more about what the construction costs of the total package are going to be. I mean, it just seems strange that we're unable to at least be, somewhere present. But
it's not going to get bid or built in the next 2 weeks. So if we want, we can have Chief Newberry meet with you in the interim, talk a little bit more about the project.
Yeah, that sounds great.
See where your comfort level is at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think you should turn over some more stones. That's what I would prefer. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not discounting all the effort that you guys have made, this far. It's got to be another option that has been proven here locally.
So are we looking for another option besides this? Are we looking for, we need to give the staff, I think, more direction than what we're giving them. Do you want other options? Do you want to meet to discuss this more? I mean, this is pretty clear to me.
Yeah, this is
I
pretty
don't know
clear
if
to me
Chief
too.
Newberry is going to be able to add to what this is. And if you want options, what options would you like? I'm asking for staff.
I would like to know more of what these construction figures are going to be.
Okay.
Related. I mean, if they can produce a price for what the building is, then let's find a price for producing what it's going to cost to build it. That's my take. What additional expense is this going to be? There's a $50,000 spread in rough estimate costs right here. So I'd like to have a little bit better understanding as to what all is involved in that particular piece. Are we going to find a drainage issue? Are we going to find whatever other little issues that we're going to crop up that are $20,000 issues to this building? And if we can find that out and see what that total package looks like. Is the floor of this being built to house apparatus? Is it just a 4-inch concrete thick? What is all involved in this?
Okay.
Those details would be just a little bit more.
Does that give you enough to
Yes.
move forward on?
I'd like to see you take the dimensions of the building and get a couple of the numbers from General Steel or Verco or somebody else that does this, that the ports use. It's just a building, metal building. And see what that difference is using this state bid. And if you get your 20%. If this is the E-quote, they should be able to do the same.
It is an E-quote. Yeah. It indicates an E-quote.
They should have some boilerplate pricing. Can't imagine they don't.
The it's probably included in here, and I haven't read it. The $84,000 rough price tag for this kit, that includes shipping, bringing it here.
I would have to
FOB job site.
reread. I know
Is
it
that-
didn't include tax,
Can they put it in
but
the
usually
truck?
that cost includes the shipping. And I would have to confirm that with Chief Newberry because I don't see it real quick on here.
And I didn't either. It just dawned on me that the company is located in Utah and
Mm-hmm.
whatever else is associated with the whole package.
Yeah, we will get those answers for you.
And, I think Commissioner Collins, it has you could call Verco and say, we're looking at a building this dimension and kind of like this with a door or whatever, can you give us some sort of a rough E-bid and just see where everybody falls? This might be a screaming deal, we just don't know.
Yeah, that'd be good. RSV, local contractor, they do that design, build, construction, guaranteed, no change orders and everything else, total package
They
deal.
don't do any public work anymore.
Okay, well,
Ron Frederickson.
yeah.
Just a note, the bid does include shipping.
Oh,
Does.
perfect. Oh, I already found it. Perfect. Thank you.
His dad actually built this station.
Yeah, I did the dirt work.
Okay, we beat the heck out of that one up.
Oh.
Staff has enough? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh.
And, you might not, in 2 weeks, you might not have everything put together, it might be longer than that, but see what you can do. Don't want to give you too much homework. EAP,
So I mentioned to the board last summer that Kit Corey, who currently provides our EAP, is retiring at the end of the year. I've been looking at other companies and narrowed it down to one that offers quite a bit more than we've had in the past. There's more sessions per employee, there's more training, and then they actually come in and help train the department and provide training in money management, marital problems, all kinds of other things, leadership development. And so they're way under my threshold of spending to contract with them, is depending on what plan you go, is anywhere from $4,200 to $5,400 a year. And so I'd like to move forward with them, but it is entering into a contract, and so I just wanted
For,
to.
for all of our employees and
For
spouses and
75
families, is that
employees.
less than $6,000?
But I should say, Kit Corey was right at $2,000, but only offered 3 sessions per
Right.
employee in the
That's pretty
training, so. So I just wanted to make sure we were okay entering into a new contract.
I would say we'll put that one on your shoulders.
Okay.
Unless the board has. Okay, any other new business? That said, we're gonna go into executive session under RCW 42-30-1404A and RCW 42-30-110-1G to evaluate qualification applicant for public employment and to discuss collective bargaining. And we are gonna be about, see, a little after 7 right now. What do you think, Chief?
I would say 7:15 should be plenty.
Okay, we'll be back at 7:15 unless you hear from us. And we'll make sure the secretary keeps track of this. Okay, we've been in executive session and took no action. Roundtable, good of order.
I have a few. Michael Garrison and family just had a baby boy, so new addition to the district.
Congrats.
And tomorrow, Chief Russell, myself, and Chief Newberry, if he's feeling better, will be attending the Hazelville Salmon Creek Business Association Happy Hour. I asked if I could bring the assistants to introduce them. We also have a special event at 5 o'clock before next meeting, where we are going to acknowledge Commissioner Collins and his service to District 6. And then newly elected Commissioner Haynes will be sworn in on January 4th at 10 o'clock at the county building.
Before our meeting.
Before our meeting.
So two things I wanted to mention was that East County Fire and Rescue had an article in the paper yesterday. The chief was talking about the chief Swinehart, yeah. Unprecedented times there, and 60 hours of continuous overtime and those types of things, and other departments stealing personnel from them, and it puts them in a bad way. Anyway, I just want to make sure everybody took a look at that, and I guess we're in a pretty good position by comparison. The other thing, the explosion on surf sides today, Ocean Shores above, north of Ocean Shores in surf tides, right next to the golf course. Some building just exploded and it hit 6 houses nearby, and you can't imagine that it wasn't anything that wasn't illegal going on. But I mean, it's like, I very rarely hear of that going on where you wipe out 6 houses with one shed. So hopefully everybody's okay. I didn't hear of any casualties. So I don't know, that's all I wanted to say.
I have to say something about San Esposi. Information went out to the district. We did get a couple people to sign up for Thursday. Appreciate that. And then I assume that you're going to deliver on the 19th from here like you normally do.
Yes.
So on Friday whatever that is, Friday the 17th, somebody will meet me out there to load up the gifts and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
On that Friday. I've usually coordinated that with Chief Newberry. Hopefully it's not raining. Hopefully you have enough trucks. But just let me know what time. I think we've done it at 9:30 or so in the past, and that works out just fine. So let me know what you want to do. Anything else? Okay, gentlemen, we need to authorize payment of current bills, authorize monthly commissioner compensation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.